um, name on or prognose or diagnose you, and it's thorough. You can treat it, because how long did the medicine take to work once you found out what it was? How long did it take?
The medicine really didn't change the results, I think, because I was already in the process with that steroid pack and stuff. Because the new doctor said the steroid pack helps your body, and like when I went and saw him the second time, they were almost starting to dry, and he's like, "You're already past the contagious section of it." When I saw him,
Okay.
so he still gave me the medicine, and I started after it was on it. And he said that whether you take medicine or not, it could take 2 to 3 weeks. Without medicine, it could take like 2 weeks, 10 days to 14 days with the medicine to get you pretty much 97% healed.
Wow. Wow.
So it kind of helped that I was already healing, and
Yeah.
but it helps that I still went. I go to the doctors a lot, having that VA insurance, and then working at the hospital. I could walk in that emergency room and get taken care of.
Right, right, right. So that's just awesome, man. Yeah, I just applaud the fact that any level of a correct prognosis or diagnosis is it affords a better treatment or a better plan of care. You know what the enemy, if I should use that as a metaphor, you know what you're tackling, you know what you're going against,
Oh yeah.
you know what to do and how to do, because it just makes more logical sense. And we're in an hour where guessing as to what's going on with us is not going to work. Guessing what to or not to, or being unsure of, it's not going to work. And I just believe that that's what goes on in all of our lives, and in all of our family dynamics, and all of our systems, cultures. It doesn't matter, no matter what. Which brings us to where we are in our mental healthness to wellness session. And we want to welcome everybody who's on, and everyone who's coming on, and everyone. This is certainly the day that the Lord has made, and we are going to rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for sharing, Ron. I'm so appreciative
Yes.
of it. So this is Monday, October the 20th, and we are in a brand new day, and we are in a very, very clinical, much needed clinical session. And I do believe in clinical healing, clinical deliverance. Again, for many of us, we came from a really, really productive Sunday, in our spiritual communities, those who did congregate in a particular and at a particular address or building of people or group of people. We're so grateful for everyone in fivefold ministries, the apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher, those who are doing the work, who are not pastors or preachers, those who are doing the work of bringing healing, encouragement, strength, and blessing to any person that is challenged or with struggling with their emotions, with their trauma, PTSD. And again, that word PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, is something that does not only apply to military personnel. I just don't believe it does. Anyone who have suffered through anything in life, whether you've been in the Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines, or haven't been in the Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines, PTSD does not discriminate, and neither does mental disorders, emotional disorders, spiritual disorders, psychological disorders, whatever disorder that you may know of or may not know of. There are times people don't realize they have a legitimate clinical issue, because if you are in any level of Black or Hispanic or uh, um, Caribbean culture, many times we'll always like put it on a demon or a spirit or an attack in the satanic or demonic world. And I do believe that world is real and it does exist. However, there are some things, many things, a good portion of the things. Okay, let me just say this, and since I'm out there, I'm out to just go all the way out. A good portion of the things that we deal with are clinical. Our need must be addressed with with understanding, and I believe that if someone is possessed with a particular demonic or satanic presence, even those demons has a particular personality. They give a particular outcome. They have a particular, way of movement. So even in that, there is a psychology, even in the satanic world, or the demonic world, or the spiritual world, if I should say. All right. So, with that being the case, we do not come to you with pride or arrogance. We do, however, know and realize the need to approach and talk to these particulars and to understand it. I firmly believe that wisdom is the principal thing. Thank you, Solomon. But in all thy getting of wisdom, get understanding, right? So let's go into it today. I was stuck somewhat on the what it means. These particular words is two words in particular that I want to talk about, and they rhyme. Right? Just give me the 411. Give me the update. These words rhyme, and I'm not trying to rap. I'm not trying to be a rapper. No, no way, shape, or form. But I sense that there are so many people and who are battling and getting their point or their view or perspective heard. And the challenge has been you are up against, or yourself as well, up against deflectors, people who deflect. Deflection is a real issue and a real challenge. Deflecting is major. It's subtle, it's cute. Some people deflect in a loud way. Some people deflect in a moderate way. Some people deflect in a silent, soft way. But it still goes on. It's still a struggle for many people who are dealing with confronting someone about how you feel, confronting someone about how and what is going on with responses, or finding the courage to speak to a particular topic or subject is challenging. And this is something that is so real. It's so challenging because the person is not in the position or don't know how to. They claim to be kind, claim to be gentle, claim to be understanding, claim to be loving, but deflect. And that is one of the challenges that family has, couples have, siblings have, co-workers have. When you deal with someone who cannot um, receive, or can't receive without deflecting. Let's deal with the word deflection. All right, what does it mean? And it has a powerful meaning. It's the action or process of deflecting or being deflected. In other words, it speaks uh, um, to deviate, turning aside, or from a straight line, right? So, and from a clinical perspective, um, it has a different meaning. And I want to bring that up because I do believe that this goes on so much in the psychological context. Deflection is a defense mechanism where an individual avoids or redirect by changing the subject, blaming others, or attacking the person asking. This goes on in a subtle way. I'm going to say that again. It is a defense mechanism where an individual avoids, this is the key word, avoids or redirect a question, to avoid or redirect a question, or that. And in many cases, it is painful. It's painful for the person who's asking the question or approaching the person. It's painful because it becomes painful for the person who is desiring to get answers or desiring to get an understanding, because you already know or have. that is going to be challenging, that this person is going to avoid, this person is going to redirect or blame. Defense is real. It becomes painful, and then it's painful to the person who was receiving because they don't know how. It's really really challenging, and and in many cases they lack accountability. Right, so deflection is a defense mechanism where an individual avoids or redirects a question. Didn't even get the question fully out before they started deflecting. Did not even remotely get it over or get your point across. But yet, it's amazing because you have to understand that there are people who are so into themselves and can't see and hear themselves, and they swear they're wonderful communicators. Many of the biggest deflectors are people who swear an oath and take an oath that they're loving, they're kind, they're gentle, they're understanding, but they you can't really ask them a question without their particular temper flaring, without their particular, defense up, offense out, or they'll flight, they'll run. So we're in this hour, we're in this day. There are people who are challenged with this in their relationships, and you may ask, "How do I deal with it? How do I manage it? How do I consider? Do I stay in it? What's going on? And how do I um 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 uh, how do I manage this? This is a whole lot, you know." It's a whole lot to deal with. But let's just break this down some more because you need to know what you're up against. You know, it's a psychological and interpersonal issue, right? Because first off, we have to deal with the defense. It's a defense mechanism. It's an automatic or conscious attempt to avoid discussing difficult emotions or situations. And primarily, so what's really hurt? What really gets hurt, right? What's really painful throughout this whole confrontation, what's really painful is emotions. Feelings are just hurt. There's no medicine needed. There's no treatment. You can't take no Tylenol, no pampering, no no antibiotic for this. It's really feelings that are hurt. It's really the fact that is so painful. If you look at all of this that I'm talking about, when we talk about any level of emotional distress, any level of psychological distress, it's not physically painful. It's if you notice it, there's no physical pain in any level of emotional or mental confrontations. There's no physical pain. You can't go to the doctors and get some sort of pain med. You don't need pain management for this. Your feelings are hurt. And that's what causes the uproar. Now, before I go any further, right? This is, and I'm laughing because I'm realizing even more and more that it's really feelings that are hurt. There's no Ron, there's no physical pain here, right? So when we talk about deflection, really comes from reflection. When somebody is reflective of what they're presenting to a person who all of a sudden get deflected, reflection pretty much comes from a mirror, pretty much comes from what's being seen, what's being shown. From when you get a reflection, you are looking at a glass or a mirror. Watch this. And I love this because it just really speaks to the person is bringing you back you. That's what a reflection is. Let's reflect on what happened. Let's reflect on the day. Let's reflect on last week. Let's reflect about the situation. Let's reflect about how it was said, what was said. Let's bring all the characters back up. Let's recount everything. Let's That's what reflection does. It brings up, in many cases, you, me. It brings us up. It brings up how things were said, what was, it brings up all the players involved, right? So the deflection comes from the reflection. So when we ever, you know, when we're reflecting on all that took place, because and the interesting thing about it is that we can reflect, you can reflect about the same thing, same movie, and we see something different, or you picked up what I didn't pick up, you seen what I didn't see, and it's okay. But how has it, or is it affecting physically you, the person? So what brings pain on? What brings the pain on? And in many cases, if I may, what brings the pain on is that it's just never been touched. Our feelings are real. Our feelings are connected to every outcome. Our feelings is connected to our responses and whatnot. So we're dealing with that. But let me again, it causes the blaming others or attacking the person asking. It's a tactic to shift focus away from oneself to avoid vulnerability. So what's really painful is being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is painful. Secondly, being accountable is painful. Emotional exposure even our emotions being exposed is painful, often manifesting in a denial, projection, or gaslighting. These are some of the issues that goes and the tactics that are used. And there are people right now who are knee deep with siblings, with coworkers, with a spouse, with someone in the kingdom or in your particular faith that will gaslight, that will, won't hold themselves accountable, run from vulnerability. And any level of exposure hurts. And does it really hurt, right? When, what really hurts, our feelings getting hurt, right? Sitting in that. Now, I say this often, that one of the key to, from an introspective place, that for you getting free from yourself, is that first initial moment when you can sit in how wrong you are, right, about a situation, how you just not running from it. One of the greatest things that helped me to stop deflecting, right? And I'm there, y'all. So I'm teaching this from a place of grace. That helped me to stop deflecting is when I put down all the word that I know, put down charisma, charm. I put down, I just, I'll never forget the moment that I received divine healing from being deflective. Um, is when I was able to embrace how hurtful, how much pain that the other person felt because of me constantly deflecting. I had to put myself in that place. I had to really, really sit in it. Like, you're a jerk, Will. You were off. You were wrong. I had, and then there's some parts that, I knew about the person who was talking to me about me. I knew that they had some flaws, but it wasn't about them. It was about what was going on in me. And this is where it gets gray. This is where it gets dicey, because in order for you to even move over into that level of vulnerability, you got to keep knocking that out, because you can sit and argue continually your point. But if I did not stay there and deal with William in this, if I didn't stay there and deal with my part, not hers, not his, not theirs, my part, how I'm doing, could not, because what prolongs healing is when I kept bringing up, well, they're not right. Well, what about them? The nerve of them saying this about me when they got this, that themselves going on. When I got past that and I sat in my part, they may never ever sit in their part. They may never ever come to terms with where their part is and their role and what they play. It's not about the other person. It's not about your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister, your coworker. It's not about them. It's about you being so vulnerable enough with yourself that you stop. Watch this. Um, you stop redirecting the question or the topic or the feeling by changing the subject or blaming others. And when I had legitimately started to own my reaction, why I deflected, why I ran, because again, let me deal with the definition of deflection. It is a defense mechanism where an individual avoids or redirect a question. When someone redirects a question, right, or a topic or feeling by changing the subject, blaming others, or attacking the person asking. And there are times I didn't say a word when I was being confronted about me. I listened, but I had about 10 things I wanted to rattle off in my head. Ooh, the nerve of this person bringing this to me about me at this time. It's never a right time. That's how you'll feel. It's never a right time to deal with you. Or when somebody confronts you about you, it's always the wrong time, right? And the Holy Spirit had to show me. I had to stop and just deal with it and listen, right? Because 9 times out of 10, the person who's bringing you something about yourself, 8 to 9 times out of 10, they're spot on. 8 to 9 times out of 10, what you bring to somebody about themselves, you're spot on. You're right on about them. And they may get loud, they may deflect, they may project, all that may go on. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong, because people will still redirect and deflect and think they're right. And they know they're wrong, right? But that does not make them right. It does not make you less accurate about what you're presenting. Does not. So if and this goes both ways, because there are people who can give it but can't take it, right? So we understand that. I'm this is all clinical. This is hellness to wellness. These are seated issues that go on in our family, go on in our relationships, and technically it's going on in us. And what's really hurt, right? What's really painful in this, what's really hurt and injured in this whole process called deflecting, projecting, what's really hurt are feelings. That's it. You don't have to go to no doctor. You don't have to put a cast on it. You don't have to have no operation. What's really hurt, there's no procedures needed. You're not going to be hospitalized. What's really hurt are feelings. Technically, 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 what's really hurt are feelings. What's really hurt are feelings. That's what's really hurt. So when we talk about deflection, right? Again, deflection. Now, this whole topic is about deflectors and deflecting what it means. It's a defense mechanism where an individual avoids or redirect a question, a topic, or feelings by changing the subject, blaming others, or attacking the person. Asking. They will attack the person. And I was there. I had to learn to sit in my vulnerability. Things were brought to me about me. And this is where I got deliverance, clinically delivered. It didn't happen in the prayer line. I'm gonna drink to that. Because we expect Sunday to fix everything. It didn't happen in a conference because we expect a conference on Sunday morning and a revival prayer all night. You can pray all you want until you can sit in your vulnerability, until you can sit where you need to sit without running, blaming, hiding, or shaming, until you can embrace. This is where deliverance comes. When you can sit with you, your role, your part, because what shows up when someone, wants to challenge you or tell you about you, what shows up is everything wrong with them shows up to you with you in their head. Yes, it does. It'll show up. How dare they? And then shame will show up. They can't even have any level of understanding and no grace and no mercy. They're just so hard. Everything gonna hurt. And the main thing that hurts in any level of confrontation, we can blame it on emotions. But the reality is, the real thing that hurts and is hurt the most are feelings. It's not a demon, it's your feelings. And you can't go to the doctor for this and receive a prescription for your feelings. Granted, you can get something for your mental health. I get it, mental disorders, and I get that. There are drugs and prescriptions for that. But to get to the root of it and to what's seated in the person, what's seated in you, it's your feelings. Your feelings get hurt. You can't put a cast on it. You can't go and get up an operation and have a procedure on this. This is some real stuff. What's really damaging relationships, what's really damaging relationship with brothers and sisters, sisters and sisters, sibling relationships, family relationships, marital or relationships with your significant other or boo or bae. What's really damaging everything is when feelings are hurt. It's all feelings. And again, we can pray, we can speak in tongues, we can lay on the altar, we can do all those things. But until we get to the point where, okay, that hurt my feelings and I'm hurt, okay, it hurt you. Now let's deal with why it's hurting. Why? What's really hurting you? Why is this hurting you? This is something that's in you. So, what happens when someone approaches you or you approach someone about a particular topic, a particular issue, a particular challenge, why the deflection comes? It's a tactic to shift focus away from oneself to avoid vulnerability, to avoid accountability, or emotional exposure, often manifesting as denial. It will manifest as, no, I don't got the problem, you got the problem. Projection or gaslighting. These are real issues. And these are some of the things that I was masterful at doing. I was masterful, watch this, at manifesting as denial. I denied it. You had the problem. Or what about all yours? It becomes counterproductive in every relationship. It will become counterproductive when there's a lack of accountability to oneself. Because what's hurt again, what's really hurt, and I'm not gonna leave from this, KP. Hey, I'm not gonna leave. What's really hurting is your feelings. I'm stuck there today. I'm gonna have to dig more into this. Because what really hurts when someone approaches you about you, or when you approach them about them, or about a particular isolated incident that has grown, that you have sat with, and this is where counterproduction happens. This is where, and watch this. So the deflection comes again from the project, from the reflection. Deflection, reflection. Deflection from reflection. Deflection comes from when that person, all right, can I talk to you about something you said to me last week? I'm giving you a scenario. Sure. When you said X, Y, and Z, it really hurt my feelings. Or when you said X, Y, and Z, can you further explain what you mean? Now, there are people who can clearly define and explain what they meant. And there are people who are so emotionally distraught and have undiagnosed, so many undiagnosed issues that no matter what you say to them, everything hurt. Everything bothers them. Everything hurts. There are people who are dealing with that now with family, with your husband, with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, with your partner, with your siblings, that no matter what you say, everything hurts. So deflecting happens. Deflection happens. Deflection is happening from reflection. When you look at a mirror, what's reflecting back to you? When you look at a mirror, what's reflecting back to you? The image that's in front of it. And many times when we bring people what back to themselves, that's where the pain starts. That's where the deflection begins. It begins to manifest. Right? I don't care how many degrees you have, how educated you are, how anointed you are, how rich, how smart or how much wisdom you have. It does not discriminate. So what one has to do is own. Owning is really the bigger challenge with many of us, with so many people, with people that you're dealing with. And I promise you, Sunday morning sessions in our church sessions, unless that pastor, him or her, unless they are very, 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 very clinical, you're not going to get much help. It's not. I'm telling you the truth. We can preach about David. We can preach about Paul. We can preach. We can pull a gospel text out all day. If that gospel text and or whatever text that we pull up, whatever chapter or verse in mind that we pull up, if it doesn't have a challenge of clinical of helping someone to see themselves in it, right? And then drive that home and then further break it down, there will be no help. We will leave those particular settings um, uh, inspired, uplifted, encouraged with faith. I get it. It's going to produce faith. It's going to do that. It's going to produce all kinds of wonderful faith. However, to deal with the undiagnosed issues and challenges, what goes on in the head to head, face to face confrontation with ourselves is our emotions, their feelings that get hurt, feelings that we protect. So it's hard for us to deal with and deal with ourselves and take ownership. So defense mechanisms are up. We are wired. We are geared. We have so many defense, so many alarms. Defense mechanism is an automatic or conscious attempt to avoid discussing difficult emotions or situations. We'll avoid it. We will. Somebody right now who's listening, this is what you've been dealing with since the whole time you've been in your relationship. Your partner or you deflects. Both guilty. Both can't see it. Both can't come to terms. Both are locked and loaded with, you kill my dog, I'm gonna kill your cat. She's telling you how she feels. He's telling you how he feels. Even amongst family, co-workers, nothing can get done. There's no progress made because feelings are being protected. I keep saying it. I'm gonna say it again. Your feelings, there's no medication for your feelings. You can't go and get a procedure, in and out 1 day procedure. There's no way the doctor can operate and heal your feelings. There's no feelings are really the issue. That's the issue. That's what we protect. That's why we deflect. Because we do not like when our feelings are in pain. We don't want to, don't go near that. So the avoidance of accountability comes next. When you deflect, The avoidance of accountability. It is a way to escape responsibility for one's own behavior or feelings. It's a way to escape it. I don't want to deal with it. And the only way you get some resolve is by being mad by yourself or talking to a BFF, talking to another family member. You believe they came to me with that? You believe she even brought that back up? You believe he even said that again? The nerve! How could they? After all that I've done, and and they're not perfect, and this and that, and this and that. You are protecting your feelings. It's a real thing. Been there. I was there, and I've been since learned the power and the vulnerability of sitting in my part. I had to own how the other person was feeling from my behavior. I had to sit in it and see how my behavior affected them in that way without running, without blaming, without projecting. I had to sit there. I'm like, whoa, Will, you really, that really, that really, I can imagine how that feels. I wouldn't take that from me. I wouldn't take that from them. And so I had to sit there in my ugly and see myself, right? So now the good thing about healing and being healed from an issue, I'm not saying that I'm fully delivered. I'm not saying that I do everything right and cross all the T's and dot all the I. I am saying, however, I can sit in it now, no matter what. There's no running. Uncomfortability is a gift. It is a signal that something's going on in me, not the other person. Something is being something has been altered in me. It's never about the other person now, right? And this is where you want to get to. This is where we want to get to. This is because it's liberating all in and of itself. When you can sit in your part, when you can sit in where you are, what you did, well, how you are, when you can reflect on, yeah, I did say that. When you can taste your words, when you can retaste, when you can taste how and what you would take or would not take, when you can taste that, when you can, and not run, not deflect, not project, not blame, it's a wonderful thing. This is where it starts. Now, the challenge is the person that you're talking to may never ever be there, but may take him a little longer to get there. How do you manage you until then? And then to some folks, they may never get there. You may be in a relationship with somebody that's so damaged, maybe related to somebody who won't let it go, don't know how to let it go. It's okay. Now you just manage you while you're in those situations. That's all it is. It's not about fixing her, fixing him, fixing them. I've learned I don't fix people. You can't fix people. You can't force people to get delivered or healed or see it from your perspective. You can make kind and gentle attempts to, but that may never, ever happen. It may never happen. And being okay with where they're not or where you are doesn't make you better. This is about you bringing sobriety to you. So methods, right? So some changing the subject. This goes on with deflectors. This went on with me. I would change the subject. You may be a subject changer. Blaming, shifting, projecting, or attributing one's own feelings to someone else's, or gaslighting, making someone doubt their reality. Attacking or using aggressive language such as name calling or yelling. These are the things that go on with deflecting. Recently, I went to call somebody and talk to them in a gentle way to approach them on something that an important matter to me, and kind. I didn't go in an accusatory way. I want to know, did you or are you saying this, and if so, why? Can you further? Oh, they shut me down. Boom. Blah 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 blah. Okay, I was okay with it. All right, and again, I didn't label them. Just like, okay, phew, that was. But now they know, right? They know where I stand. I'm like, let's keep my name out your mouth, right? I had to approach it, right? Like, why are you talking? Why, and if so, why did you say it? And if so, um, give them an opportunity to hear and to speak their part. Give them an opportunity, because the whole objective for me approaching, now let me give you my nature of approaching it, where if I done something to offend you, I want to have the opportunity to apologize and to repent to you, so that we can make this right, so that we can end in prayer and forgiveness can be administered. The person was so vile and so aggressively mean that they could not hear it, and I was okay with it, right? I was okay. All right. I was okay, right? So you have to be okay with not being okay with the other person not being okay as well. You have to be okay with that, because it's about you bringing peace and solace to you, bringing sobriety to you. So deflections many times come from reflection. I said a few moments ago that when you look into a mirror, it's reflecting back to you what's in front of it. And there are times you can receive an offense, receive some sort of um, uh, uh, injury, emotional injury from somebody who don't even realize they injured you emotionally. This is where the grudge, this is where the ought sits, this is where the grudge sits. The grudge is a real thing, and that's what we hold. It grudges are from a past emotional injury. Someone who had injured someone emotionally with their words, with their actions, with their deed, injured them. And there's someone who can, there are times we can hold a silent weight, a silent grudge, ought, or feeling, or a disingenuous feeling towards someone, and we don't even realize, or they don't know, even realize that you're holding that, but you're holding it, not them. Now, the irony is that you may still live with them, you may still see them, you may be related to them, you may worship or work with them. It's maybe a neighbor of yours, maybe a friend of a friend, cousin of a cousin. I don't know, but to hold it is a real thing. To have record of it and to house record of it and to carry that is heavy, holding a grudge. And it's primarily because feelings was injured. Feelings, your feelings, or the person know why you don't like him. So now there's two grudges, right? There's two beefs being held. And then if you get other people involved, now you got a community of beefs. That's how dangerous things can become. That's how, you know, I have some really close friends. Right? And sometimes you're just going to end on this. I have some really close friends who can be, who can have problems with other people, other individuals. And I know that there are people who won't connect with me because of a certain personality that I'm connected to. I know that. I run the risk of being cut off or being shunned or shut out because of a particular connection, right? Now, two things happen in my circles. I'm going to challenge my friend. I'm going to like, listen, I'm going to like, if you can't act, listen, you guys, you straighten this up, fix this, heal this. However, this part of you, however, because I'm connected to you, so I run the risk of being ostracized, cut off because of you. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes we just got to evolve and bring accountability. So in essence, what I've done and what I do, and not to say that I'm right all the time, but that's the challenge of being in any level of relationships. That really is. You can't avoid it. There are people who dislike you for no reason at all, or whatever reason they have is very, very you don't know about it. It's very shallow, um, and these are the things that go on. However, I believe you should challenge your circle. I believe that we should make our circles accountable and make ourselves in that same mix. Put ourselves in the same place. Whereas if you can challenge them, they can challenge you. That's the great thing about iron sharpening iron. It's not one way. It goes both ways. If you are committed or any level of committed relationships. Well, I hope that this session helped you to see yourself. Feelings are hurt. Feelings are constantly being hurt. There's no medication for it. You have to sit in it. You have to deal with it. You have to unpack it. Have to track and unpack what's going on in you that causes you to respond that way. The center of attention has to be placed on you, not them. You, not your husband. You, not your wife. You, not your brother or sister. You, not your coworker. You, not the person that you worship with. You, not your neighbor. Everything is about you tracking and locating and unpacking what you locate about you, what you recognize about you. Why do I feel this way? Why am I? Spend more time with your why, with you. Why did that affect me this way? Why is this affecting me this way? What's the cause? What is this? What happened? Where did it start? What's the root cause? Now the Holy Spirit will bring back to you, show you. That's the awesome part. But sit there in it. Sit there in it. Don't run, don't blame, don't project. Like, whoa, see you. See how off you are. It's a wonderful discovery. And it's going to hurt. It's going to feel awkward, but it's working. I promise you it works. I promise you. Part two on this coming Wednesday morning. I'll go further on this. We're going to talk more about feelings and the danger of being led by your feelings and protecting feelings, which in many cases has a false narrative to it. It's it's unstable. Our feelings and our emotions. They can guide us. They can have a lot of sensories to it connected to it, but it can't be need healing. And the healing comes when you confront you. That's the medication. That's the medication. That's the surgery. That's the procedure, whatever you want to call it. All right. Listen, I want to thank everyone for coming and sharing. I hope that you hit the share button on this. Hit the share button. Thank you for those in our Zoom room, those who are on our social media, YouTube as well. We will be back here on Wednesday morning talking and discussing these particulars. All right. We want to see everyone well. Until then, have an amazing day, an amazing week. I pray God's blessings in favor of everyone. Blessings to you.